welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Welcome to Big Blend Radio, everyone. On today's show, Reghan Cloudman is joining us. She is the public affairs specialist for Arapaho and Roosevelt-National-Forest and the Pawnee-National-Grassland up in north-central, northeast Colorado. And I've been looking at the photos of this region, and Nancy and I definitely want to make a trip out there. It is so beautiful. And it actually, I believe, ranks as the most visited national forest and grassland for recreation in the nation, with over 6 million recreationists visiting the region every year. You can go to the website. I encourage you to do that to see maps and find out where you can hike, where you can camp, all those good things, and to see any weather alerts. Go to fs.usda.gov/ARP. So welcome back to the show. How are you, Reghan?
Hi, thanks. Doing great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. So is this true? This is one of the most visited national forests in the country?
We are one of the most visited national forests in the country. We are you can reach us an hour outside of Denver, and we surround Rocky Mountain National Park, which is very popular with travelers coming to the state. And we have 3 ski areas that are very popular in the winter, and then just ample recreation opportunities year-round. So definitely a very busy place.
And so last time you were on the show, we were talking about the Pawnee-National-Grassland, which is a very biodiverse and historic area up in the northeast, just north of Greeley and part of Weld County. And it's true that it's like between the 2 forests and the grassland, you've got over 1.5 million acres.
Yep, we do. There is a lot of land out there.
Man, let's go party, man. Let's go hiking and go hang out. That's like, yay. And so it's interesting because we were talking about, you've got the grassland and the prairie land, and now we're in a forest. So this can go up, 14,000 feet high?
Yep, we do have some 14ers on our forest. And for those who want to come to Colorado and say they did a 14er, in the summer we have the opportunity to go to Mount Evans. You can drive up to the top and then hike a little ways and say you actually got to see do a 14er, as well as see some really awesome wildlife while you're up there, and some beautiful views.
Oh wow! So, and then also, what about the drives? I was also reading into this, in the forest, do you have one of the highest paved highways in the country?
Yep, and that would be Mount Evans.
Okay, so that's a scenic drive, and so that goes up over 7,000 feet. Woohoo!
Yep, it's a steep, curvy one. Yeah.
Okay, somebody else is driving for that. I'll just sit there. That's when my knuckles turn white, and I'm like, So you've got the forest, but it's also, am I getting this right? That you have 2 national recreation areas within the forest.
So we do have the what we call the ANRA, the Arapaho National Recreation Area, and it's up on the other side of the divide in Grand County, Colorado, where there is a lot of water recreation opportunities, as well as camping and hiking and everything. So it is definitely really popular. There's the Brainerd Lake Recreation Area, much smaller, and that one is closer to Boulder, Colorado, in that Boulder County area. And then just recreation opportunities all over those, 1.3 million acres of public lands.
And the Arapaho National Recreation Area, this is really a water area. And I think this is interesting because here in southern Arizona, we're at the tail end, we're at the lower Colorado River. And so the Colorado River really starts up in that area, right?
Yeah, and so we have 5 reservoirs that are in the Arapaho National Recreation Area. So there's Shadow Mountain, Monarch, Willow Creek, Meadow Creek, and Lake Granby. So yeah, lots and lots of water activities there, as well as rivers. And there's 28 miles of hiking trails up there and 6 developed campgrounds. So there's definitely a lot for folks to do in that recreation area.
And then also, I was reading, I mean, to me, we just got to get out there. Because every time I'm like looking at your photos and I'm looking at everything online going, this seems like you could go in any season and do all kinds of things, you know, you're talking about rivers, hiking, but also that you've got actual wilderness areas now. And that's really where you can't take a car or anything, right? This is like you have to go in on foot.
Yep. So wilderness areas are different than just that kind of general forest area. You can't have mechanized travel. So no bicycles, no vehicles. Dogs have to be on a leash there. Group sizes have to be minimized because it's trying to keep an area looking as much as if it's untouched by human hands as possible. And so we have 10 wilderness areas stretched across the forest. Some of them are have more trails and things for folks to do in them than others. Some are much more remote. And actually Mount Evans, there's also the Mount Evans Wilderness Area. So while you're there, you can see the wilderness from a road. Also, if you travel the Poudre Canyon Highway, Highway 14, that goes right up the heart of the Poudre Canyon in Larimer County, that's another wild and scenic drive. It's beautiful. It's along Colorado's only wild and scenic river. And from that road, you can also see some wilderness areas, you know, up off of the road.
Wow, this just sounds like a magical place, and because it spans so, you know, it's so wide. I mean, you're so vast in acreage, and then also going into all these different counties and basically wrapping around, you know, Rocky Mountain National Park. When it comes to, you know, places to stay, camp, eat, things like that, there's going to be a little bit more, right, for people to take advantage of.
Yep, definitely. You know, we've got kind of these different kind of hub areas of Idaho Springs and Boulder and Fort Collins and Loveland and Estes Park and Granby and Grand Lake. There's all these different communities that are kind of portals into the forest. So definitely for those who want to make day trips out of it, that's always going to be a great option. And then we have a bunch of campgrounds scattered across all of our different, we call them districts. We have four districts in the mountains, and so there's lots of opportunities for people to stay in the forest as well if they want that kind of experience.
And what about wildlife? I know we were talking about that with the grasslands, that, you know, you've got, you know, coyotes and pronghorn. Does it change up because now we're going up higher? Do we get mountain goats and things like that, or no?
Yep, absolutely. Mountain goats, bighorn sheep are really exciting to see, and potentially moose.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. And in those higher elevations in particular, you're going to potentially see some moose. There's some.
I'm coming then. I'm there. I'm I'm leaving now. I mean, it's my favorite animal, and I've never seen a moose in the wild.
We can help guide you. Yeah, there's definitely some good spots for that, where they like to hang out in those kind of riparian areas down around streams, where they can find willows to munch on.
Oh, I want to see a moose. That's it. It's happening. So now, and it's going to change according to season where they're at. Like, I know you've got to have elk then, right? If you have
Yep,
moose.
we definitely have elk. Yep.
And do they move up and down in elevation according to season and food source availability?
Yep. There's definitely some of that movement that it's going to take place, and seeing, you know, different things at different times of year. We also have black bears that are out and about this time of year, and they're mountain lions. You know, people should definitely be aware of those out there, and be heads up about that. And there's bobcats. If you see a bobcat, that's pretty awesome because they're pretty quick. But yeah, just lots of things to see. And when you're driving in some of these mountainous areas, you know, you look up on the slope, and that's where you're going to see those bighorn sheep, or mountain goats. Lots of mountain goats at Mount Evans. Lots of marmots up there, and you might see pikas. Lots of little ground squirrels and chipmunks.
Oh man, I really want to go out there, you know. To me, that's, these just marmots are really cool. So you go from prairie dogs to marmots, I wonder if they all meet at some point. It's like, hi, you know. But so what about the birding? Because we were talking about the Pawnee grasslands being such a birding destination. So this is going to be completely different birds, right? Because now we're up higher.
Yeah, some of them are the same, but some are different. Definitely,
Okay.
like red-tailed hawks, Swainson's hawks, things like that you might see in both locations. One of the kind of cool things, especially on our Sulphur Ranger district, is the osprey nest
Oh,
up
wow.
around all those, those reservoirs and lakes that we were talking about. So that's kind of a cool thing to sometimes get to see in the summer is the osprey.
Oh, wow, that is neat. So summer, fall, and in fall, do you get like the quaking aspens out in that area, like and then the changing of the leaves in the fall?
Most definitely, and with our various scenic drives, there's lots of beautiful places that you can actually see from these scenic drives, where that you're going to be on pavement if you're not wanting to be quite as adventurous on some of our forest roads. And so, yeah, the changing color of the aspen, as well as those cottonwoods and willows in wetter areas, are just, it's really, really pretty here in the fall.
Oh man, I know, man. I'm just like, this sounds really, really neat. And then, so then the snow comes in the winter, and that could start anywhere, October, November.
Yep, absolutely. It all kind of varies, but those higher places start getting snow earlier, and yeah, October or November you can definitely start to see it. Usually the ski areas and a lot of those winter like snowshoeing and cross country skiing are going to start a little bit later, more into that December time frame.
Okay, so then December, January, February, and then spring. Now you've got to have like the spring. Those, do you have like the alpine wildflower bloom? But that's pretty much maybe like May, June, or later than that.
It's actually a little later. Again, that lower elevation, you'll start to see some wildflowers happening in that late May, early June timeframe, but it's going to go into that June and July at those higher elevations, just because the snow, it takes a lot longer to melt up there.
Okay, so you got summer wildflowers, and the one thing I wanted to ask, actually, for both regions, the forest and also the grassland, is what about horses? Like, because I know a lot of people do these, massive group trail rides and go camping with their horses, and do you have facilities for that?
We have some, and there's definitely horse. People are riding horses out on the Pawnee National Grassland and up in the forest. We have one equestrian campground where it was built with the intention that folks will be there with their horse trailers, and there's a corral. So there's that opportunity specifically if you're wanting to camp out there, and then there's the opportunity to do that dispersed camping if you want to ride in on your horse into a more remote area and set up a camp. So definitely something that happens. You might see them out on trails and things. But you'll see a lot. On a trail, you might see horses, you might see mountain bikes. You're definitely going to see hikers. So just a lot of different activities taking place out there.
And then in regards to the roads, because I know you've got these scenic drives and, going way up high and you got snow. So in the winter, do we have to watch out for the roads? Is it mostly in winter, I would say, but are they open or are certain areas closed?
Definitely there are forest service roads, those more remote roads, those or rougher gravel and dirt roads that do close in the winter. In fact,
Okay.
many of our roads like that close in the winter because we don't plow them.
Right.
But that's not to say you can't easily find parts of the forest that are accessible in the winter. We do have a lot of highways that cut through the forest, and so and lead you to places where you can do a lot of recreation. As we have those developed ski areas, as well as areas really popular for snowmobiling and cross-country skiing and snowshoeing.
And so just take your chains. Make sure.
Yep, that is definitely a good idea.
Yeah. So, and everyone, again, that's another reason to keep sure that you go on a website before, like go on the Forest Service website before you go there. And even before you arrive, just like check it out. It's fs.usda.gov/ARP. And I think so camping and all of that, that's a good place to go for that too. But what about permits? Because I know we've talked about that with the grasslands that, you pretty much, unless you're camping, you're free to go in. Is that the same thing for the forest?
There are parts of the forest where you do need a pass. The Arapaho-National Recreation Area is one of those because of the amenities that are provided there, like the boat ramps and different things. So there you would need a permit. Going up Mount Evans, going up there, you would also need a permit. But in general, most of the forest is just open and free for use. And there's some, if you're going to camp in certain wilderness areas, you need to get a permit because there are limits on how many people can be there at a time. But in general, if you just want to go and explore a trail, most of the time you can just go do that.
Okay, so now you get to have a weekend off. And what would you do? Like, in just say, like, let's do it in winter, because that's the interesting thing. Because I know a lot of people head up to forests and they always do summer, which is great. But I always feel like when you go in these off-season times, there's this peacefulness and there's just a whole unique experience. So for you, if you're going to go there for a winter weekend, what are you doing? Where are you going?
Well, my family really likes to downhill ski. So often we are at a ski area on the forest, or one of the many national forests in Colorado. So that's something we do. Also, I think it's a lot of fun when we have folks from outside the area come, is to go snowshoeing. Because that's not an experience if you live someplace like Kansas, where I originally came from. My family, we didn't really snowshoe when I was a kid. And so that's kind of a fun thing to get to do with folks. That's, hiking on these big, funny looking shoes. And so you don't necessarily, it's not like a skill you have to acquire, maybe like downhill skiing, but something that folks can pick up and can be really fun to do, enjoying the snow. And there's lots of places and opportunities to do that.
And I've never done snowshoeing, and we almost did it when we were in Yosemite in winter, and it was so nice. Yosemite National Park in winter was just amazing because, again, it's that peacefulness, and there is things you can go, skiing and things, and so a lot of times we don't think we can do that in a forest or a park, and you can, but the snowshoeing, I've heard that you have to learn about balance, and I don't know, maybe you have to have a flask of, some toddies to take with you if you fall down. I don't know. But it seems that there's a balance. It's like wearing really giant clown shoes or something when you go through there on snowshoes, right? It's kind of
definitely. My husband's pretty tall. He definitely finds it more challenging than I do. So I'm a bigger fan of that. But then again, he's the downhill skier, so he's got his winter thing he likes to do too. And there's particularly up in that Grand County area, again, that's that higher elevation space. In particular, there's lots of people who like to go snowmobiling as well.
So there's a little bit of everything. Are there cabins, like little, cozy cabins that you can stay in the winter and the summer?
So on the Forest Service land, we have one called the Stub Creek cabin that is an old ranger station, and in the summer we have volunteers that staff a visitor center up there, and then there's one cabin that people can rent, and so that's kind of a neat experience because it's the old ranger cabin. Cool. We have a lookout tower that you can stay at and rent that is down in more of that I-70 corridor in our Clear Creek Ranger District. So that's kind of a different, unique experience. But otherwise, if you're staying on us, you're probably staying in a campground.
And now, okay, so there's all kinds of experiences, and you're in such a, beautiful region, and, hitting all these different counties, so you can go exploring and seeing, everything. This is just, to me, like one of those ultimate vacations. Like, it sounds to me that you should go for a week. To me, that's what it sounds like.
You could definitely find stuff to do for a full week.
I like that. I like that a lot. So everyone go. we want to see you guys posting photos on Facebook and things like that. Do you guys do social media for people to follow?
We do. We have Twitter account for the forest. We're at USFSARP. And then we have a Facebook page as well, where we post not only just pretty photos, and we love it when folks tag us in their social media posts, but also any kind of safety concerns or anything like that. We're posting that kind of information too. So if folks are going to come out, or if they just want to get excited and think they might want to, and they want to see some pretty pictures, we would love for them to follow us.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to follow you now, too. And lastly, I wanted to touch on this, too, that the Arapaho Forest, the National Forest, was actually established in 1908 by President Theodore Roosevelt. And obviously, he's got a Roosevelt National Forest, right? So this is old.
Yeah, no, we've been around for a long time. So yeah, the Arapaho was established in 1908. And then the Roosevelt is one of the oldest national forests. It began back in 1897 as a forest reserve. And then in 1910 became the Colorado National Forest, and didn't actually become the Roosevelt until 1932, but was named at that point for President Roosevelt.
Wow, who knew? He did a lot, He really did.
Yep.
He did a lot when it comes to, taking care of land. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, having this conversation. And I'm itchy-footed, and I want to get out there and see some moose. I want to see moose. I'm gonna go look on all your social media to see if you've got moose.
Well, and we often post moose pictures on Mondays for Moose Monday.
You have a Moose Monday? Oh, that's it. I'm moving. I'm not just coming to visit. I'm moving just so I can be there for Moose Monday. I love that. Everyone, again, I'm going to give you the website again. It's fs.usda.gov/ARP. And also, you can learn more about the region. Go to our site, nationalparktraveling.com. Just go to Colorado, and you can learn more and hear our interviews as well with Jennifer Finch and Amy Dugan from Weld County, which is right outside the Pawnee-National Grasslands, and also see more about the grasslands up on that site too. And we want to thank everyone for joining us here on Big Blend Radio. Our shows air Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Fridays and Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The schedule to listen as they go live or to listen on demand is all up on bigblendradio.com. And of course, Reghan, we got special music, right?
Right.
Your song today is called High on a Mountain, and it's perfect because, you're talking about some of the highest mountains that you're going to get to. So it's called High on a Mountain, and it's from the album Fan Faves by Shelly King out of Austin, Texas. And you can go to shellyking.com to keep up with her. Thanks so much, Reghan. It's been such a pleasure.
Yep, thanks for having us.
I knew there'd come a day when all the clouds would go away, the sun would light my way, and I believed it. I knew there'd come a time when I could find some peace of mind, so I left my cares behind, and I believed it. The breeze through